In case people think I'm weird, I'm just laughing in this sentence. Those two are messing with me on Zoom.
How do you turn the reactions off?
Welcome, everyone, to OCHATO, the fortnightly podcast where we drink tea and review manga. I'm Suellen.
I am Jade.
And I'm Oliver.
Every 2 weeks, we pick a manga that one of us has recommended, and we read up to a certain chapter and discuss the manga with a mega ton of spoilers. This week, we are revisiting the manga Witch Hat Atelier by Kamome Shirahama. We're picking up back from chapter 24 to chapter 40. But before we dive in, we must know the answer to the most important question. What is everyone drinking in their mug?
I am drinking elderberry and echinacea from Ollie's Pucker tea gift set. It's it's red. It's like a dark, deep red colour.
Does it taste red?
It tastes purple.
Delicious.
Yeah, really, really nice.
Just remember echinacea.
Echinacea.
Echinacea. I am also drinking from a Pucker brand, lemon, ginger, and manuka honey.
A classic.
Very delicious. I finished it already. This is my last pack. So
Whoa.
Enjoyed it immensely.
Nice. I've got the Bird and Blend Zinger Zig R. It smells like hot yoga, if any of you have ever been. It smells exactly like the room that you do hot yoga in.
Please elaborate what that smells like.
Very lemony, kind of gingery and hot.
So how do they exactly make it lemony and gingery? Do they just like chop lemons and ginger and just place them around the room, or like?
Are we talking about the tea or the yoga?
The yoga, but I guess it could also apply to the tea.
I don't know.
Mostly the yoga.
I do not know, to be honest with you. I have no clue. I'd recommend trying it out and then see if you can work it out. They serve free peppermint tea at the one I go to, which is greatly appreciated.
Sounds great.
Amazing. So, last we read was chapter 1 to chapter 23. Last I remember, it was the witches was doing the witch trials in the cave, and they encountered the brimmed hats. Surprise, surprise. And one of the test participant, Euini, was transformed into a wolf, unfortunately. And of course, Qifrey and Coco and Tetia came to the rescue. And we pick up from that where Qifrey is badly hurt. Brimmed hats are gone, but they're fighting these golden flesh people. And that's where we began our story. So how did people find the plot?
So
when we were last left on,
what we'd had happen in the chapters that we read, just for posterity, is Coco had basically ended up giving the warm stone, the comfort stone, to the gold people to be like, hey, look, magic doesn't have to hurt. It can be, gentle. And they basically use it, they amplify it and use it to melt themselves, which kind of solves that problem, I suppose. And then Euini gets spotted by Coco, who goes down to kind of, help him, and then gets caught out by Iguin, the kind of eye-brimmed hat, who basically says, hey, come and learn some dark magic with me if you want to turn your friend back. Coco does an awesome thing where she steals back the talisman that will turn Euini back into human. They then kind of solve their problems there. The brimmed hat witches run away, and Coco and the team kind of meet back up. They then are taking the rather wounded Qifrey to the magical witch city. Can anybody remember its name?
The Great Hall.
Was it called the Great Hall?
Yeah, the place where they're at. I mean, this is where the witches dwell.
Yes, under the sea.
Under the sea.
Under the sea. Oh, so good. And then basically they spend some time there with the kind of Grand Master, whose name escapes me, basically starting to saying, hey, if you witches can impress me, show me something that inspires awe, I will kind of allow you to keep studying.
Is this Sage Belderut?
It is indeed.
Yes.
So they try a few things, and then none of them seem to impress him. So they stop for a few days and come up with some plans while in these absolutely gorgeous baths that seem kind of like a beach, but have water unicorns going. Oh, it's great. I want to go there. And what they end up doing was my favorite panel from our awards, which was the one where they have it raining underwater, but then they have sunlight coming out from under the umbrella that Coco's holding. Absolutely gorgeous little panel. And it's very pretty. And there's a rainbow. So good. So that adequately inspires awe in our great sage, who says, yes, you may continue, but Coco, come and seek me out later. Later, Coco, funnily enough, does seek him out, and we get a bit of backstory on Qifrey and how he's blind in one eye because he was found by the regular witches, I think the Knights Morales, or maybe some others, essentially as a sacrifice. And we learn a bit more about his backstory. What happened after that? I don't think it was a huge amount. It was mostly exposition on the characters.
And then we were sidetracked by Olugio, I think.
Orugio. Oh man, yeah. Is this when Qifrey did something really bad to him?
Did he wipe his memories?
Yeah.
And then they were distracted by the what's it called? Shooting stars. And then was it Silver Eve? And then Coco essentially got asked by the boy who was colorblind to help set up a store with him, which I thought was really cute.
Yeah. It was good.
Can't wait to that. It was a lot of mishmash of like really cute moment, but immediately like dark twists. And then back to cute again.
Yeah. I think it was pretty consistent with how Witch Hat Atelier has been up until now and what we'd read up until then. You know, you have these cute moments, then you have these awe-inspiring moments and these absolutely gorgeous panels. I found I was really noticing actually the kind of work that was done with the panels, where, for example, there's a bit where Coco needs to make a choice about does she go to the library or does she go back? And it's a panel with her in the middle, and then on the left, in kind of a panel behind that, is this tower, and on the right is the route back, and then her hands are kind of reaching down out of the panel that she's in to choose. Really, really nice panel work. So we have these cute moments, these awe-inspiring moments, and then these kind of disturbing moments happening pretty regularly, actually, which I thought was very much in tone. Do you think it matched what we'd seen previously, or were you expecting something else?
Yeah, I would agree that it's pretty consistent. It just, the mangaka just keeps teasing us, man. Like, keep dropping these like, oh, here's a little exposition, here's a little flashback, and you're like, I need answers.
I need answers.
Come on, it is building. Maybe I'm just impatient, but I see like she's trying to sort of build every thread sort of from the ground up, and it gets more and more complicated because everything's happened simultaneously. You just kind of want it to focus on one plot line and just tell me, like, accelerate and tell me everything. But I think this is better because it kind of builds the world a bit more and gives time for characters to like grow and the world to build. Like, the more I know about this world, the more I'm like, J.K. Rowling, get out of here.
Speaking of
Witch Hat Atelier is my new best friend. No longer friends with Harry Potter.
Speaking of characters, we've had an awful lot introduced in the chapters in between. We've had basically all of the Knights Morales, who honestly I was kind of struggling to track. I'm hoping that they'll get introduced a bit more gradually again now that we've had the lightning fast introduction to them all. You know, I can remember the twins and the one that kind of looks like Saber from Fate, and that's about it. So I'm hoping they'll pop up more. I'm interested to see what they do and how they're different. But I thought that the intro we got to them was very quick indeed.
Yeah, and like I remember all their character designs. It was really cool. I mean, that's one thing that the manga couldn't like always ace. But the problem is, like, I cannot tell you who's who and what they did. I just remember they sort of probably had some deep conversation and like, oh, we're just trying to keep magic, we don't want to repeat history. that's all I can tell you about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think same for me, because I only remember that guy who appears when things have just finished getting bad, and then he's like kind of the cleanup guy, I guess. And he's like, oh, the Ministry of Magic has sent me to do, or like to do an investigation or whatever. I remember him. I remember what you said, Ollie, about the one who looks like the person from Fate.
Saber.
Yeah, Saber. I remember
Blonde
the twins.
girl.
Yeah. And I remember this guy who always likes fighting. I don't know what his name is. I just know him as the fighting guy because he's always like, come at me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Does he have like a crown thing?
Yeah.
In my head, I don't know if I've seen a color spread of this. He already has orange hair. Like,
Utowin.
Yeah, like he does have it, right? Or am I just imagining?
Yep, he's got orange hair.
Ah, of course, because his fiery personality has to be reflected in his hair as well.
Such as the law of Manga.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm the same as you. I would have liked a bit more of them, I think, just to kind of make them a bit more memorable to me.
What other characters development that you enjoyed? We got quite a lot of development.
we did indeed. For me, the one that stood out actually was Riche. There we go.
Rich.
Yeah, Riche, who's the kind of slightly eccentric girl that doesn't really want to do magic the normal way. She wants to do it her way and make it her thing. And she's the one that comes up with like a bed of flowers. And I really liked her development for two reasons. One, it was actual progress in the things that she can achieve while going with a change of character. And two, it fit really well with the magic system that we've seen up until now, where you have these kind of intricate diagrams that are created. And she wanted a way to make magic her own. And after looking at the ways that other people would do it, maybe because their eyesight was bad or whatever, I thought that that was a really nice way of tying in how she wants to be versus how magic can be. And I really enjoyed her little moment. It was kind of near the start, maybe chapter 25 or something. That was actually my favorite bit, I think, of the character development parts. Did you have any?
I think for me, I guess this is sort of a very much in development, but Euini for me, because if you remember at the beginning when we first meet him, he's very reluctant to draw magic in front of people, so that's why he's got his cloak, right? But then when he gets turned into a wolf by the broom hats, is it when he gets the magic inked on him? Yeah. So after he gets turned into a wolf, I feel like he's changed. His whole attitude towards living is, for me, a big development, and I'm actually really excited to see what happens to him and Alera as they navigate the that random spawn point that they just got dropped off at. I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, I hope that we get to see them more in later chapters.
I think the most memorable for me must one, there's Agot's sort of more like insight into why she is who she is, right? Because we met they went back to the Great Hall. There were people who knew them before they became Qifrey's apprentices. She sort of you see a lot more of where she's coming from, why she's so determined to work hard, or because she wanted to prove herself because of the mistake that she made before, the insecurity she had, that she couldn't sort of live up to the family's expectations, the family name. And it's just, I guess it's inspiring to see sort of someone is like really determined to sort of prove other people wrong. But I feel like she mostly wants to prove herself wrong, that she's no longer the person who wouldn't face her challenges head on. In case people think I'm weird, I'm just laughing in this sentence. Those two are messing with me on Zoom.
How do you turn the reactions off?
they stay on
Oh dear.
forever. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, these, because I think I remember we said in the first podcast, they kind of like a cast of like really interesting characters, the four
Agreed.
witches. But at first they were just, you know, archetypes. Oh, the serious, hardworking tsundere one, the really bubbly one, and the quiet, also a little bit tsundere one. Hey, there's a lot of tsunderes. And obviously our main girl, Coco, who's the innocent,
She's pure and wholesome.
pure, awesome one. Yeah, but like to see more depth in that, which we did.
Indeed. I'd really like to see some more challenges appear for Coco, because we've seen her kind of meet most of the challenges head on and find really interesting ways around them. And it was cool seeing her thinking about how she can kind of save her mum and turn her back, which was awesome. But I would like to see what happens when there's a conflict of interest that doesn't have a clear resolution, which I reckon we will actually get, given the way that this manga has been so far. For example, you have the power to save somebody, but you need to use black magic to do it. And if you use black magic, it's going to, you know, it breaks a lot of laws, and there's a reason that black magic is banned. And is she willing to, you know, make enemies of many of the witches that she knows, or the knights, to save somebody? That kind of choice. I'd really like to see how she copes with that and how she grows from making those choices.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see the dynamic change between Qifrey and Orugyo, because when we read the first few volumes, those two were very much the figureheads of the atelier, and they were the people that Coco and Co could come to for any issues and stuff. But then in our most recent developments, they behave differently towards each other. And then you find out that Qifrey has just wiped Orugyo's memory like a bit. So it's interesting to see that relationship change.
It's interesting you say that, because Qifrey was monologuing to himself after he did that to Bimaji. Because he was saying how like, oh, you know, I'm quite good at keeping secrets, but you're also quite good at sussing it out. I'm like, this is not the first time it's happened.
No, definitely not.
Gosh darn it. Yeah, I'm interested to see like Qifrey's development, because his is going to be a long development. I feel like this is going to be one of the like the key story arcs, because he has this clear motivation of like trying to figure out what the Brain Hats are doing and finding ways to stop them making this new spell or whatever. Like so far, the way he's doing it, he's just refusing everyone's help. By everyone, I just mean Ollie and also his master, Saint
Sage Belderroot.
Yes.
Sage Belderroot. Yeah, he needs to learn his lesson, you know. do things by yourself.
But do you think that so we've seen Orugyo get pretty angry at Qifrey for abandoning his students and risking his life? Do you think that that's had an impact on, you know, the way Qifrey operates as a person? Like, you know, one of your friends is really mad at you.
I agree. Yeah, I think Qifrey's very focused on his goal, which is fine, but he's got these students and he runs an atelier. So we saw this before, where he's suddenly like, oh my God, you know, I've got to look after these people. And I said I would and everything. What am I doing getting so caught up? And I reckon that will be kind of a recurring theme for a while, as the stakes get higher for him and he gets closer to the truth, but so too do his students. So I can definitely see relationships becoming more strained, and I'm curious as to what happens when Orugyo finds out, if and when Orugyo finds out that Qifrey's been wiping his memories.
That's going to be a whole fight.
Yeah, they're also like the water mage and the fire mage, who are always going to have some kind of opposition, right? Just due to the nature of their powers. Like it's too thematically juicy to miss.
Right. Yeah, because I think Qifrey is under the impression that, he's got this, he can do this. Both looking after the kids, he won't go too far, but inevitably, I feel like he will put the kids in danger. That is.
Yeah. So, did anything about that happened in the plot so far really surprise you? Did anything really catch you off guard?
Well, he wiped his memory.
Yeah.
I actually was shocked because given how cute this manga is, when all the trials that Coco was going through was all about like wholesomeness, friendship. We can all do this, But then you have Qifrey who's like, oh, you say that I really care for these kids, huh? Get wrecked. That was a hat on there. And just say goodbye to your memories. Yeah, and then it really for a split second that it's going to be just as wholesome, like, oh, you're right, my old friend, we should do this together. But he's like, nope. I thought he was going to like take his eye out or something. Like
for me, I think that moment shocked me as well with Qifrey's hat and stuff. But I also was shocked by the art because I was legit just open-mouthed looking at the way that the mangaka drew the gold people. And like I was so enamored with the with how they drew the people that I was just following the lines that they drew with my eyes, and the hair as well. I think so many moments in this in these chapters I've just been like, whoa, just really shocked at how, okay, not shocked because this is an amazing manga, but just really, really impressed.
Agreed. I've been really, really enjoying the art. I believe in the awards that we gave, I called this like the prettiest manga that we read, and I think it still holds. I really like the way that when a character is introduced or they're just having a bit of a monologue moment, rather than just seeing pictures of them, sitting at the table thinking about things, or when a character is introduced, rather than just seeing them in where they are, you'll get a nice kind of arty pane, almost like a character card. So, for example, when one of the first knights is introduced, I believe he's called rather than just seeing him like on the beach, we get a nice, almost like a tarot card, which I thought was a really cool way of just adding to the art without being confusing. So I've been really enjoying this, and I'm excited to have more volumes to buy.
Do you think anyone's going to die soon?
Yep, don't know who, but I think somebody will. Not really soon, but I reckon that we're going to learn a bit more about Qifrey, and we're going to have a brief kind of period of chill again. So the stakes will go up a little bit in volume 7 or so. So just after chapter 40, because it's starting to get serious again. And then something will happen that will maybe push Coco towards learning more or something like that. Probably involving the knights, I'm guessing. That won't be when somebody dies. I think it will then go like down and chill again. And then I reckon the next kind of spike in drama will be when it happens.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call it being Qifrey.
That's interesting, because the way I imagine it will go now is like I think they'll have another close encounter with the brim hats, and then something major will happen, maybe involving another huge beast like the dragon, but like maybe even bigger. And I feel like there will be more spells to learn and more the deepening of relationships, and then I feel like it's not really near its end yet.
Oh no!
I feel like I feel like we're like an eighth of the way there or something, because I feel like there's a lot more to find out and a lot more story to tell. A lot more of the story to tell, rather.
And a lot more magic. I want to know more about the magic system. It's so good.
Yeah.
Magic system.
Oh,
yeah.
I think it's really, I don't know if it's underappreciated, but I think however much it is appreciated, it's still underappreciated. How it's consistent and it's clear and it's interesting and it's got room to expand. It's not, I don't know if I'd quite call it a hard magic system. I suppose maybe you would, rather than, so for example, Harry Potter would be a soft magic system where you can become kind of arbitrarily stronger, and it's not completely set in stone. I would say this is certainly harder than that, in that there are given laws, and you have things like Coco drawing her best straight line to go as quickly as possible, which was just lovely.
Yeah, and you have to draw really quickly. But the more complicated the spell, the more patterns there are to draw.
Yeah.
And it's just everyone's an artist. To be a witch, you have to be an artist first.
Well, that's me out. I'm not an arty person.
Well, you and Coco have that in common. So if she can do it, you can also.
I'll try.
Can you imagine like a modern day Witch Hat Atelier where people use drawing tablets?
Bruh.
Just stand on your iPad and just draw on it. Just
Oh my god.
go up into the air.
That'd be fun. I still really want their thing they have on the shoes to fly. The sky
So good.
Silfrey. No, can't remember. You know the one.
Yeah, I am so in love with those little what was it, bush bugs?
Oh, the bush bugs. Yeah.
Brush
Brush.
bugs.
Is it
Yeah.
brush buddy?
Brush buddy.
I think so. I can't remember, but they're hella cute. Yes.
They're so cute, and the way that the mangaka draws them, they look like they're so soft to touch as well.
want
Like
one.
those pictures of caterpillars that look really furry.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. Like, oh, so cute.
There are some so cute panels in this. Oh my lord.
I thought it was really cool is that how they depict like wheelchairs, and like if you're a witch, like you just make the coolest like wheelchair ever.
The sage's chair was awesome. I want one.
I think it's called a seal chair.
Amazing.
I love the little puns in this as well, with like Agatha and Rishi.
Yeah, agreed.
One other thing that I love is like, because before in episode 1, I remember I was just complimenting Qifrey's sort of design, the fashion senses. And I thought his glasses were really cool. And now it's even cooler because it had a purpose rather than just a weird, ooh, look at me, I'm an anime character, I have weird clothes. It actually had a purpose, is to conceal his eye.
I also,
yeah.
Also his haircut being able to like go over one eye and make sense because he doesn't see out of the eye.
It's not because he's just a cool guy.
He's not too cool to only look out of one eye.
Yeah, and of course, in this chapter, the volumes we've read so far, the fashion sense just was even more impressive because there was more instances where when they're not wearing their uniform. So when I think Ollie, you mentioned this like in our chat, you were saying how like the design of evil Coco's dress.
Oh, so good.
Adorable. I just hope they do like a Witch Hat Atelier fashion line. I would buy everything from there. If they design like, the Japanese Lolita fashion, like Witch Hat Atelier style.
I mean, you can't go wrong with a witch outfit, right?
Yeah.
The big hat. Or even the pointy hat. But the big hats are cooler, let's be honest here. The evil guys always have the better fashion. It's just a law of manga.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're moving on to our one of our last sections, which is how have your opinions changed from the beginning?
Jade, how's your opinion changed from the first time we read it?
So I don't know why, but every time I read Witch Hat Atelier, I feel like I'm in sort of a dream, or like a spell has been put on me when I'm reading it, because I get transported into the world. And I know you can say that about a lot of stuff, but I really felt like I was being pulled into the manga, and it's exactly the same for these chapters. I think it is the world building, and I felt like it was a pretty inviting manga, and I felt like I was just being pulled in and watching them all, because we get perspectives from all of them. So I don't think my opinion has changed a lot from when we first read this. When we read the first few volumes, I still think the same things I thought last year.
Wow, it was nearly a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good lord.
How about you, Suellen?
I think my opinion of it has been fairly consistent. Although, the twists and turns, surprised me when they revealed it themselves. But the expectation for the mangaka has always been really high. It's everything they've done, it's always top notch. So plot, character, art, it just keeps on getting better. And I'm definitely not disappointed. But I have find sort of the characters quite overwhelming, the large number of them overwhelming, a bit hard to keep track of. But hopefully when we get to know more of them, when we dive deeper into their characters and their stories, they will have a lasting effect. Because right now I'm just looking at this character like, I don't know what your role is anymore. Yeah, that's my overall thoughts.
Okay, pretty good. For my part, of course, we had the initial introduction to magic and we were all equally in awe. And that for me kind of stuck with me. I'm still most interested in the magic system and how Coco explores that. Of course, the plot needs to add more characters and kind of explore their relationships. And I think that will definitely be a source of interest going forwards. I found it slightly less engaging than the start, but I'm still very much enjoying it. And I am now more invested in the characters since we've had the development of them. So if we keep on the same kind of track that we are, with characters introduced, the character development happening, and using that to push forward the plot, as well as finding out more about magic in general, especially as Coco's knowledge increases, and therefore ours does too, I'm really excited to see what's next. So I suppose for me, for final thoughts, I really enjoyed this, just like before. It's so pretty all the way. And I fully intend to continue buying every single volume that comes out because this is very worthy of the shelf space. So yeah, love it. Could do nothing, no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, for my final thoughts, these past few volumes have just carried on from where we left off. And yeah, I really enjoyed it and I can't wait to read more.
And for me, it's a bit difficult because whilst I'm enjoying this series as I read it, but because the volumes take quite long to come out, and I just finding myself, because there's so many characters, so many plot points, every time I pick it back up and reading it, I'm finding myself sort of losing track of what's happening. So I have to reread every time.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe I'll wait for a while. I feel like this manga, in my opinion, is best experience when you binge it or read it at whatever pace you are at, rather than having to wait months and months for the next story. So I don't know, because it's, for me, maybe it's just me, my schedule, I'm just finding it hard to sort of get excited at points at the story. But I think that's more of a me problem. But I would definitely recommend it to those who haven't read it yet or is thinking about picking it back up. Definitely a joy to read once you remember everything that's happened and getting reattached to the characters.
Yeah, it is indeed pretty dense.
Now we're moving on to our favorite section.
Oh yes.
Where we take a character or two from the previous manga we've read on the podcast into the world of the manga that we're reading now, which is Witch Hat Atelier. Last week we read Sailor Moon. So how well do you think Sailor Moon and Co will fare in Witch Hat Atelier?
Who are we bringing in? Are we bringing in Sailor Moon and the Cube? Or I can't remember what the cat's called, I'm afraid.
Oh my god.
Luna,
yeah.
Yeah.
Are we bringing anybody else too? I'd be quite interested in just bringing in Sailor Moon. I can't remember her normal name. She is Sailor Moon. Usagi, yes. Thank you, of course. Because, yeah.
So I had a really fun time imagining how she'd defeat the Brim Hats.
Oh my days.
So I can totally imagine her transforming into like the types of clothing that we see in Witch Hat Atelier, with like the long cloaks, the pointy hats and stuff. I think she looks so powerful, and I can totally imagine like, you know, the moon prism power make up, but then just directing it towards that really shady one. I can imagine that. I can see her in that cave where they had to do that trial, and just helping them, and Luna as well. I think it would be really I think Usagi would be fine in Witch Hat Atelier.
I know she'd definitely get on well with the rest of the girls. I'd love to have her as the character that's like a little bit scatterbrained compared to, because they don't quite have that, do they, in their troupe? So they could have somebody that's a bit scatterbrained but also really talented. And I'd love to have her like yell the name of whatever she's doing as she does it. I think that would work really well. So she's the one that's like just does not know how to study and is just awful at studying, but is able to like work it out in the end. And then maybe just due to the way that she remembers them, she'll yell out the name of whatever it is that she's casting at that point. And I think she'd fit beautifully into the atelier with the rest of the girls.
Yeah, I'd imagine she would still be like 15, but because she's like failed the trial so many times, maybe that she like stayed behind or something. And that's why she's like older than the other girls.
How old are Coco and Go? Are they like 12?
13? I don't know. Yeah,
13.
Around that age.
Okay.
Yeah. That's and I'd imagine when she draws, she will like when she's actually making a spell, she'll come up with like a chant, because she can't remember for the life of her what that each like drawings meant. So she's like, oh, like straight line. Maybe she sings to herself, like she comes up with a rhyme, like, oh, like straight line is for this, and then
that'd be lovely.
Whirly, and then that's the water spell. And people look at her like, are you serious? Like, that's such an easy spell, you don't need to sing it.
I could see her working really well for gags too, where she'd get like a line wrong or something, but in a really harmless way, and just for example drench everybody.
Oh my god!
Or something.
And or maybe Qifrey will see that she's she's practicing so hard, like drawing, and he looks closer, like, oh, whoa, what is she spell is she doing? She's just drawing a picture of a really she's drawing a tuxedo mask, right?
I was thinking really low quality Qifrey picture.
Oh, right. Sure. Qifrey as tuxedo mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just like those like shoujo manga roses, like, oh, it looks so pretty, and Qifrey would be like hit like a book on top of her head, like, study. Talking about romance or flowers.
It would be wholesome, it would be lovely, it would be funny. She'd be a great fit.
Yeah. I think she would drive Olegio insane.
Yeah, agreed. I can also not see her getting on very well with Agot.
Oh yeah, they will have tension, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. But all part of fun.
Yeah.
So speaking of lovely wholesome experiences, what we're reading next session is not one. I'm sorry. We're going to be reading Scum's Wish by Mengo Yokoyari up to chapter 22, and it's about people being awful to other people in secondary school, basically.
Wow.
Oh no.
It's about romance and heartbreak, and I don't quite remember what the manga was like, but I remember having to quickly shut my Kindle while on the tube in fear of people seeing what I was reading. So do be warned.
Does it have a maturity rating?
Do you want to know?
So is it basically like raunchy sad?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
Bad porn.
Not quite. It's not quite that far. No, it's about relationships, but it's not that lewd.
Okay.
It's a 15. There we go.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. No, I wouldn't pick something that like super adult for this, because come on, we're wholesome here.
I'm excited to read Scum's Wish.
Excellent. Let's find out how we do.
Yes. Thank you for listening to this episode of OCHATO.
See you in the next episode.
Woo! Love it.